Welcome back, everybody. So I brought us today into a traditional classroom. It's actually one of the ones I use a lot of times when I'm face-to-face with undergraduates and graduate students that like to come in and meet. I like to come into areas like this too. And just get a feel, remember why we're here. Technology. I mean, look at all these buggers behind me. What do you think when you first see this room? I think about a project. I think about what it undertook to put this together, the planning, the management, and the actual idea of sunk costs. Sunk costs that we can think of, and I talk about this a lot of times in other places, is the fact that when you invest in something, you have to have a certain amount of tools. Students have to have a desk. Every desk has to have a chair for every student. Every student has to have, you got it, so you guys can see it. Whoop. They might need a new one of those, a keyboard. I was trying to grab one and show you guys, but they have to have one of these. They have to have a mouse. They have to have a monitor. They have to have all the tools. Not only do they have to have the hardware, but you have to have the software to run everything they need. They need word processing. They need analytics if you're doing a specialized tool to quantify or measure something. They also have to have, what you guys can't really see, the network cables. Here they're underneath the floor. They ran them underneath and pocket them up. But that takes a big, gigantic investment in time, space, allocation, and tools. A lot of the things we don't think about today is all these costs that are sunk inside of a project. I brought us into this room just to think about how many computers are in this room. I think there's some 50 computers in here. The cost that it incurs for a chair, desk space, carpet on the floor, network cable to run by foot, is a giant work breakdown schedule just to put it together. We have to think about how many employees will we have to bring into this. This is where our Gantt chart comes in and our work breakdown schedule. We'd have to think about how long it takes an average technician to pull the wire, to put it all together. Another technician is probably just going to work on downloading software or updating software if it's old machines, or getting rid of legacy software and moving it up. Maybe we're shifting everything over to new technology. This happens on a daily basis here, upgrades. A lot of times they're doing it remotely once it's in, but until that we have to plan. A lot of this planning comes with the idea of milestones. Some of you are new to this theory, that's why I'm bringing some elementary thoughts into it. Others who will have to kind of understand. But a lot of students are looking at, what is a milestone? What does this mean? I'm getting this question. Well, milestones are actual projections or markers to where you want to meet the end goal of your overall project. The overall consists of everybody coming together on the different sides of campus. The people purchasing the desks are different from the people purchasing the computers and the wire. Everybody has to work in an agile form. You know what agile is, and we think of it in software development, but it's also agile in the way we develop any plan. Everybody has to come together at a certain point on a time schedule. Schedules have to work around each other. We have to have internal milestones inside of our actual whole project to make sure we're on track. You can't bring in 50 computers until the people bring in 50 chairs, 50 tables. You can't put 50 chairs, 50 tables in a room until there's carpet laid down. You can't put carpet laid down until the wiring is done in the walls and the drywall is up. These are all management issues in planning a stage in a room like this. Someone has to plan all these elements out so that every single work breakdown schedule coordinates with the next level, the next milestone to be met, so the next agile team can work on the process. I love bringing people into this room and saying, what goes into this? And start breaking down all the work and all the scheduling and all the sunk costs. It's interesting to think of how much manpower is used every summer just to update all these computers. Believe it or not, they break. Students have accidents. Although we're not allowed to have Coke in the room or Dr. Pepper or whatever you like, it happens, and accidents happen. Keyboards get a washing. They're ruined. So somebody's got a plan in the sunk cost to have extra keyboards, extra monitors, and all the allocations that we need to fix it in real time right away. Can't have a classroom if things aren't working. Just like at home, virtually, if you break down on your computer, you're liable for yourself. You have to plan ahead. Maybe you bought a proactive plan to run to Best Buy to get help if you don't know what you're doing, or you have to think about how to get software upgrades continuously. You have to monitor it yourself. These are all part of your own internal work breakdown schedule on maintenance for your equipment, just so you can be a student. Here we have people designed just to manage all this flow. Think about the time. What would it take for one person to install one computer? Have you ever done this before? It takes time. You got to crawl on the floor, you got to hook up the cables, you got to make sure everything's correct, make sure the power's working. Everything has to check before we even get software on this. And then we have to test everything. The last thing you want is 50 students walking into a room and 50 computers weren't tested and they didn't work. That's another part of the work breakdown schedule to the complete. These is a final milestone is everything complete, but we have to think about the little ideas and problems that can happen, the third order consequences. If we're using wireless, what a lot of the classrooms are going to, and these old machines are going away, because everyone's bringing their own laptop, we have to think about terms of service agreements. If you're bringing your own equipment in, someone has to design before anybody can tap into our wireless to make sure it's robust enough first to handle 50 students in the room. They have to think about what's the terms of service agreement. We have to make sure we protect our internal network in this plan. It's amazing the little things you have to think about. I want you guys to start thinking about this as you're writing papers and how you can alter your papers into a different frame of mind about all the externalities that go on into a project. That's why I came into this classroom, because I had conversations I had with a few of you. It seems like there's a lot of disconnect because we think of things and take it granted for them. We walk into a classroom, if you have recently, the computer's there, it's ready to go, the wireless works, everything's ready. We just connect in. But somebody had to come up with the wireless system. They had to put the routers in, the switches in, they had to do all this work. Somebody had to make sure the terms of service agreement's correct. Legally, we have to work with a legal team. These are all things you guys are going to get into as project managers. It's not as simplistic as the undergraduate work. Well, we'll put together a work breakdown schedule and a Gantt chart. We'll show the whole flow, we're done. You guys get to think of the third order consequences. What if you hire a vendor? You have to think about training vendors to your core values. You have to give them sexual harassment training to make sure that you're protected, because you are responsible for a vendor when they're on campus or on your organization or your virtual organization today. Everybody's liable. So you'll have to think about the legal and the ethical ramifications of the job and hiring a third-party vendor. This was a big issue that I dealt with when I worked for the Commonwealth. Constant connectivity, constant training. You have to build this in your plan. That's all part of the milestones, gang. Well, gang, I hope you enjoyed our little conversation. We'll talk to you soon. Trying to get you a little bit outside the box and think about our world. Have a great day.